Hey, everybody. Let's dance. Got the poll going. Let's see. Set up the members live stream for an hour. And hey, everybody. And just a monstrous misunderstanding of what? And, let's see. Trying to find the freaking live stream here. Golly. I can see the chat. I cannot see my poll. That was interesting. Got the members only stream set up. And save that one. And see if I can see the poll. There it is. All right. Sure, you vote in the poll. Was that the end? Was it not the end? Was it the bottom? There we go. And how we doing? That was the last day of the first quarter. Man, 13 weeks already in the year. Craziness. Got 13 weeks to go for the first left in the first half. Halfway done the first half. And then we'll be on to the back half of the year. Holy moly. Seems like it goes fast, doesn't it? So historically, from now through Memorial Day, we typically get some boom action. Hadn't been the case so far. Last year we did the Liberation Day dip before we got the rip. So I'm still cautious. We've got that. I did put the poll there. Was that the bottom? I'm not feeling it. Looks like 88% so far. Voting no. Kind of with you on that so far. Not sure that was the bottom yet. It just, we've gotten some volume come in, but it just doesn't seem like the bottom yet. So April coming up tomorrow. Got the jobs report on Friday. Non-farm payrolls. It depends on how you want to look at it. But the market's closed on Friday. So market's closed. And we get a big... Typically, the market uses an excuse to move around a little bit, especially if it's a surprise. So this is an opportunity to surprise everybody. Throw out some stuff on Easter weekend, and while the market's closed for 3 days, and then boom, we come in Monday and pretend and hope that everybody forgot about the surprise. So I don't know. Anyway, before we get too far down the pipe here, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation is intended to be informational, educational, fun, and entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. If you want to have somebody tell you what to do, there's people you can hire for that. It's not me. I'm not going to trade for you. I'm never going to send you a message that says, hey, I got a special deal. There are scammers that do that, and it's not me. So be careful out there. Want to see a Trump East Room speech before I believe it? I don't know. Iran says they're willing to play let's make a deal. Somebody bought cajillions of dollars. I'm saying cajillions of dollars worth of QQQ calls right before the Iran shenanigan pop. But here's the deal. Let's go look at the chart. QQQ. If we look at this down on the lower time frames here, so far that was just a three-wave move. Ugh. No bueno. S5FI in the reversal zone. So far this is just a first move, retrace, second move, boom, ABC corrective. No bueno, girls and boys. No bueno. I know Svenborn, he's like, what the heck? The first time I met him, he's like, what is this? No bueno. It's Spanish for not good. So that tagged the exact proportions right there. That's the exact proportions on the close, little spike right there. Perfect. Trend, pullback, continuation. I'm not sure we're done. As much as it pains me to say, I don't think we're done on the downside. That sloppy. Sloppy. Even the futures right there where it fills in the data. Maybe like, well, turn on the extra innings on Qs, but it really doesn't help any. While that did get a little fluffy, frothy, the cash index is really what counts at the end of the day. And that low, that high, that low, same as the Qs. No good. Really don't like that. Really don't like that. SPX, same sort of situation. Just shy of tagging right there. Look at the SPY. How'd we come out on the... Oh, I'm on the wrong chart here. The Qs busted out of the top of the box. SPYs probably did too. Nice. Green day for once. Look at, we were hanging right with that till boom. So gamma matters while it matters till something upsets the cart. It seems to be always the way it is. Hang with it till it doesn't works while it works, doesn't when it doesn't. It's better than nothing, but certainly no crystal ball. And if I had one, I could do a lot better in the market. At least a calibrated one. This one does okay. Flips the market upside down when I look through it. And see that S5FI fired off a minute ago. Switch to the day. Switch to guns. Back above. S5TW hanging out. And this may have bottomed out. So we're in the zone for a reversal here. We usually don't hang out here a long time before we go ripping higher. Now, it can double dip, though. I've seen that plenty of times. We dip, we pop, we dip again. Yeah, we dipped, we popped, we dip it again. So all signs are pointing to potential bottoming. I'm not convinced it's the low, but we're getting close. S5TH, stock's about the 200-day, still hanging near the middle. Bled off a little bit, but still hanging in the middle. NDFI, I guess it's NDTW. Nasdaq stock's about their 20-day. Reversal zone. NDFI, reversal zone. Clearly, tech is beaten down compared to S&P. Look at that. Nasdaq stocks above or below their 50-day. Yeah, we've got 15 above their. So how do you have point? If there's a Nasdaq 100, there's 100 stocks, right? 100 stocks, Nasdaq 100. How is it 0.84? How do you have 0.84 of a stock? It's either 15 or 16. It's not 0.84. If there's actually 100. And then compare that up to the S505 that was up to 24. Then Russell Already looking sparky here. Already looking sparky. This thing's ready to rock and roll to the top. You know, R2TH doesn't oscillate as much. It does hit the bottom, but it doesn't get the top as often. So it's very hard to push 80% of the Russell 2000 stocks over there. I mean, it's a lot of stocks. 2,000 stocks, so it's hard to get 80% of those above their 200-day. RSP in the vicinity of where we can bottom here. Yeah, we back tested the breakout. Yeah, that looks a lot like the Russell chart right there, doesn't it? Look at this. Look at that. That's uncannily similar right there. I'm glad we didn't do the second big down there. Could still be a B wave at that 172. Could. But if we're gonna launch it, if we hold this breakout here, let's add RSP and see how similar or different they are. Yeah. It's like a slightly more volatile version of RSP. The RSP off of the RSP and add the IWM. Just trying to get a feel for what's the market up to. So RSP back testing the breakout. We could dip just a little lower, really firmly test it, and then take off. Now I'm just not sure if we're going to make all-time highs, though. Let me look at the bigger picture. IWM probably will. But the bigger picture for SPY and QQQ, where it gets a little more questionable. We may come back up. May rally back up in this zone. And then roll over again later on in the year. I'd really throw a monkey in the wrench works for a lot of traders, I think. And that's why I think it can do it. And this really came down to ABC really getting in that level right there. Provides resistance right up in here. And snap that on there. That's what we're working with. That was the high. This was the lower high. So far, yesterday was the lowest low. And I'm just not convinced that's the low. We satisfied the lower low right there, but then we bounced and came on down. Maybe it is. If we get back above the daily roadmap line, be good. But I do caution that bounce right here, proportionally corrective. It's a 3-wave up into a resistance. If we start bleeding this back off overnight, we'll be looking at heading on down for a lower low out here in the next week to 2 weeks. Now I kind of go through all the different charts in the morning, so be careful out there. It looks like We are not going to get the monthly close above the 618. Oh, man, it's splitting hairs. Actually, let's load that up. Let's see. Golly, that's close. We have to make sure everything's snapped together here. Snapped on, snapped on. The close. 101.38. 101.53. Man, that's splitting hairs. I mean, talk about close. Golly, man. A little bit of white space. Why is this significant? I outlined this a couple weeks ago that if we were to get a close above that 618, it kicked off the potential, the crazy potential to rally higher. And that rally higher looks something like 250. Craziness. It's like a 1, 2, 3. Man. ABC, 1, 2, 3. So at this point, just close underneath that 618. Save the day for now, but watch out because next month we could close above and then it's game on. 150, 170, and then the big bounce potential. Draw on that chart? No. Draw on this chart. No. I have no idea where I drew it. But essentially, goes like this. Yeah, let's just put it over here. Put it on this one. Gotta get the whole picture here. Monthly chart. Goes like that. This move and that move. You want to believe it? That's okay. If you don't want to believe it, that's okay. These kind of moves show up in the market. They happen all the time. Equality. What's the potential up here? 225, 250, 270. A, B, C. Absolutely beautiful correction. Except there's no trend coming into that. So it might even be a recipe for a ridiculous move higher. Now you say, well, that doesn't seem very likely. But I present case number 2, the gold oil ratio. Historically, this hangs out at 20. We're up here at 46. This takes dollars completely out of the equation. Gold dropping relative to oil popping would push this back into agreement here. Historically, they hang out at a 20 barrels of oil get you an ounce of gold type of ratio. And right now we were hanging out up at 80 barrels of oil for an ounce of gold. Now, if gold starts running again, that supports oil going higher too, to keep this ratio pushed down to 20. What does that mean for US dollars? That's a good question. I don't have an answer for it at the moment because that took dollars out of the equation. So Bitcoin probably in crypto winter Still going to grind in here for a little bit. It's the 4-year cycle, and we're probably not going to bottom out till later this year. Probably sometime around October. That would be when we typically do the bottom. So if you're new here, not seen this before, every 4 years we go through a Bitcoin cycle. Usually takes about 12 months from the high to make it down to a low. We made an initial low, probably going to retrace back up in a 3-way fashion, and then embark on the final destination. Embark on the journey to the final destination down here later in the year, right down there. Probably in this 30 to 50K zone, right down there. That's kind of how we have it. So, all right, main event. S5TW updated to 35. All right. So the main event is requests. Kimberly, my favorite subscriber's here. And I'll go, basically as long as I can. We get to the top of the hour, we'll switch over to members only. If your name ends in green, you got a little star, you got all the things, then you're a paying member. I'll hang out till I got everybody's ticker requested done. I'm going to do high-level analysis. I need full capital letters. The ticker I can just type in. If you got a question, use complete sentences. No this, that, these, or those. And let's go. Do the best I can. Probably do some high-level analysis unless it warrants otherwise. Estee Lauder. Still working on the retrace here. First move up, retrace. Here's the low, here's the high. Hanging out. We want to see it hold right here. It's still bullish. If it gets below 60, probably going lower low. That's the bummer. It could be down to 30. So be careful. That is a massive pullback. Yes, it is. But it does set up for the next run to be up to 186 from 60. I mean, that's a 3Xer right there. Potential from here right up here. Timeline on that could be out 2-3 years. And Oklo has been pretty pitiful. As I have a giant head and shoulders, and we could be pushing it down. So shoulder, head, shoulder. And if we complete it, it'd be back down to 25. It's like 50% lower from here. Does it have to? No, it doesn't have to. But I'll be careful. Get the first move down, the retrace, and yeah, so that move, that move, that move. And if it comes all that way, why not just finish up the head and shoulders? So probably still got some downside to go on Oklo, whether you like it or not. CCL. Let's see what we got here. Reasonable to assume that this might be done. We get this big pullback, then we get a shallower pullback, a big pullback, a shallower pullback. Everybody see the pattern? A big pullback, the same. Small pullback. And I put that line on there. I copied it right there. Same. So expansion. Expect that to be the same. Expansion of the low. Something like, if we hold there, turn higher, break through a 618, pullback, trigger up through 30. Be looking up here. The potential up to 40 on that one. For CCL, snap. Could it break on down? Sure. Snap looks pretty horrible. I think it's probably getting to be the lowest low. Yeah, definitely. So it's low, slow. That's just a knife catch at this point. Do you think it's going to stop here, or where's the bottom? That was crooked. So this lower low, it's a knife catch. It can go to 0. I don't even hear, other than Wrongimer, I don't even hardly know anybody that might even use Snapchat. So be careful out there. Jazz. Fingers on the right keys, Jazz. Pharmaceuticals. So that's just a lot of sideways. I don't like biotech pharma. I don't sugarcoat that. I just don't play it. I don't like it. It tends to not follow my patterns. That's just sideways. I would expect more sideways. And the reason I don't like biotech pharma is because the FDA just announces stuff and it changes the whole game. It can they can approve a major drug or deny a major drug or just kind of say we don't like the way you're doing business anymore, and the whole game changes for a company. So it's hard to account for that. Doesn't always, like, the charts don't always know that it's coming. So Celsius, still working on. Man, that got a little deeper than. So we had the first move up. Had the retrace, holding the 618, 3 waves, ABC, beautiful. Everything's looking okay. This is probably going to, once we get through the current market funk, blast off potential. Here's the low, here's the high, here's the low. And that leaves potential for 204 on the next move. If we're going to be bullish, which breaking out the all-time highs is usually bullish, so 204 would be the operative extension. There you go. 35 to 204. It's back in the vicinity where I might consider messing with that one again. I made a bunch of money earlier last year with that. Poets. You a poet, you didn't know it's a lot of sideways. Had a lot of trouble getting through here. Low price stuff. So, a few things don't follow the patterns. Biotech pharma doesn't always follow the patterns. That includes medical specialties, med tech, all the related fields. Low price stuff, things under $20. The volume's low. It doesn't always follow the patterns. We need good long, good volume. This also has 1 for 10. Interesting. Has a split in there. And leverage stuff doesn't always follow patterns because it's a amplification of the underlying. And then real estate investment trusts and China stuff. Real estate investment trusts just typically dilute, and don't always follow the patterns. And China stuff, all the numbers are made up, and they play by a different rule set, different rule book. They don't have to pass audits in the United States in the same way that U.S. companies do. And even if they did get audited, who's to say the numbers they submit are even the truth? So, Poet is one of those that is low priced and just not indicating much. That's the lowest low, so that pullback didn't matter. And that was so 95% of stuff that IPOs, which this is the IPO right back here, ends up bearish. And that was 1, 2, 3 down at the lows, 3 wave, 3 wave, 3 wave, and that may not be the lowest low. Downtrend of highs, I probably wouldn't get involved in this at all. Slow price stuff, it has a downtrend, it's still kind of bearish. Price action is very choppy and overlapping and sideways, and Not great. Not great. AMD, as I've said, opportunity to get in now. Possible. I mean, this has been holding up really well in the face of this final flush out here for big tech. Really well. That was probably the low, although it's not the most bullish start here, so may take one more dip on whatever final flush out we get, and then it'd be ready to rip. And AMD, the upside target is up here, 350 to 700. Right there. It's been up there for a while. I guess 450 to 700. All right. CRDW. I don't have a CRDW. SNDK. Fingers on the right keys. Watch for that to come back to the roadmap line. And may retest the breakouts. So it's interesting. This is considered like an AI play when they make flash memory, not really RAM. Or you say, well, AI needs flash memory. Okay. Some storage, but not a ton for the most part. It's interesting. Then you have like Seagate in the same boat, and WDC in the same boat. So storage, I guess, people are betting on lots of storage, but yeah, it doesn't tend to use that much storage. They do use processors and RAM a lot more, GPUs. When you sell GPUs, you don't sell a lot of processors and storage. I mean, storage and flash memory. You can see I got it all wrong, but it's okay. ASTS, if Artemis goes off well tomorrow, rocket stuff looking pretty good. Probably see we get the SpaceX IPO and it's hot. All this stuff, ASTS, Rocket Lab, probably gonna rip. This is a 3-wave correction. I told Jack it was coming to the roadmap line. Look at that. Oh man, told you. Boom. We got to close back above the 618 up here. And that, like, well, what about that? Didn't hit the roadmap line. Now it did. So now we're looking for the close back above that high in that 618. And then we're set for this pop up here. 140 is the target. Activates on a close above the 618, which is 103.35. So we need a daily close above that. What happens if it just drops? Then this low pulls on down and this fib comes down a little bit. But that's the activation. Once it gets above, once it gets the close above that 618 line, 103.35, as long as this low holds, once that happens, 75% likely to go to that 140 purple line there. Purpley line. So this one's been my weapon of choice. Haha. Hit the roadmap line. That high, that low. I'm setting alert. There. So back here, when we got the close above the 618, right in here, wherever it was, like right in here, I started selling puts right in here. Got put right there, that little red candle, and then it took off like a rocket. I made about just around 13 grand across a couple different accounts on that little trade right there. And then did it again right here, except I did calls instead of selling puts and getting put. Did a call spread, boom, right up to the target again. So this has been my weapon of choice compared to, I don't know why people like ASTS so much. Rocket Lab's been reliable for me. You see it closed right there, started selling puts, got put, boom, right up in the target. I got out right up here. Stayed off it, stayed off it, stayed off it till it bounced again. And we had the high, we had the low. I think I actually went early, just slightly early. Boom, right up the target. I got out again. That one I made like a couple 100%. And then right back to it. Looking for this again. Be a beautiful potential. ASTS, same sort of thing, but just higher price. Rocket Lab lower priced. I don't know. It's been kind to me. So moving on. Arm. It's kind of in this giant watermelon seed squeeze thing. Remember I said 95% stuff starts out bearish. That could have been the low right there. That dip right there after the IPO could have been the low. We go ripping, but this is 3-wave down, 3-wave up, 3-wave down, 3-wave up. That's a bunch of corrective crap, and this all could end up with a dip in here. So watermelon seed squeeze, where we have lower highs and higher lows and coming into a narrower and narrower range, is the most unreliable pattern. Like, could it pop? Sure. Could it drop? Sure. Which one's it going to do? Flip a coin. So be careful on that one. Our cats. Missed the 1925 target, but it is low under 20 bucks, so be careful. Low price stuff. Warning. Warning, warning. Came close, but close doesn't cut it. So if you missed it before, another bounce in here. You need to get above 1550 to potentially hit that 1940/2024 target up here. And PFE. Kind of choppy. I don't necessarily like the way this came up off the low, but come on, snap on there, snap on there. There we go. Pop to a weekly chart. There's the move up. Here's the 618 retrace. If we can hold on to this, break up to the weekly roadmap line, which is coming up. 618 right up here. These are the resistance zones here. Right there, around 29.30. Right here, 41. Get through that and that. Sets up for the next pop. 71 to 81. It's not bad. That's like 3x'er from here, roughly. With potential to expand on up to possibly 120 to 180 on the measured bounce. It's where these numbers come in. If it can cruise on up, hit that target. That's just the bearish target. The bullish target would be on higher, possibly up to 338. Time-wise, though, look how long this took. See how long that took? Let's turn that magnet off. It's getting annoying. This could take out here to the 2030s pretty easy. Hard to do the next climb. Could be more aggressive, but could take well into the 2030s. So a decade or longer. And SATL saddle. Set the logic. Well, there's the high, there's the low, and we tag the target, and roadmap line would be the next place to go. Low price stuff. It's going to follow the patterns back to the roadmap line. Right there you go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. TSLA is just Tesla. Tesla has the potential to drop on down to 340 if we cannot break above the downtrend. Now, bigger picture. I got lots of stuff I've said on this. Just draw some stuff and show you. Yeah, the roadmap line going yet. Could it arc on down? Sure. All right. All these are just stuff I've drawn. Where's the low? Well, for what we're dealing with, the low's right in here. On the local time frame here, the high was right there. That leaves us the potential to retrace back down in here if we're going to be like ultra bullish and do a measured bounce. Be like, well, that seems pretty gnarly. Yep, it does. There was the 618 retrace. That move up, bounced, nice big fat up, nominal higher high, potential to retrace again. It's kind of like nesting this up. If we come down in here, possibly down to 300, sets up the much larger bounce scenario. What kind of larger bounce scenario? Talking about that move, that move. Talking about 1150. Now, maybe it does it, maybe it doesn't. If we just complete the move we've already set up here, go ahead and break out of the downtrend of lows now. 550, 600 be the targets. Right there. I think we might get a little sparky action, hit this kind of target, roll back down sometime after SpaceX goes public, dip back down in here again, and that would give SpaceX the opportunity to buy out Tesla. So just be careful. Don't have a crystal ball. Well, I do have a crystal ball. It's not calibrated. You need a calibrated crystal ball. That's a downtrend. We're below the roadmap line on the daily. Retrace can come on down. It's 340. I have a fib line there from an extension. And then this zone right here sets up prime reversal between 300 and 320. Right there. My friend Spam likely calling me. And CRM. And you're like, well, that didn't help me on TSLA. Just measure the moves. Like from where we are now, down, whatever percentage that is, times it by 2, put that percentage on TSLA, and that's the potentials. So CRM potentially in a bottoming zone. ABC down. Very similar situation to Tesla. This is a move up. I retrace to a 618. We can hold it. Sets up the potential bounce up here, 600. Or CRM. CRM. Anti-M. Doubling up on those DBA. A lot of sideways chop. Failed to break at targets. Golly. So at this point, we've got a downtrend of highs going. And not a very clean uptrend of lows, but kind of a watermelon seed squeezy. If we bounce off of this, be careful. We can come down here, and if we break down, we could take a bigger spill. The breakout usually is about the size of the original mouth of the pattern. Can either do that to the upside or to the downside. And which way? I don't know. So that's kind of the mechanics of that. It's unreliable. It's not really predictable, so I don't try to predict those when they're going to break out. XOM, watch out for the retrace. It's going to fly too close to the sun here. It's going to be nasty. Like, when's the last time it went absolutely parabolic vertical on a breakout? Maybe here. It's just not characteristic for this stock. And when the party's over, I mean, there was a parabolic move. Big rip back down. Big straight up. Took back half of it. So be careful. That would be what I say there. I don't chase them. Like, that's already past all the targets, and there's nothing reasonable left on the upside. Coming back down to retest this kind of long-term uptrend of highs would be what I would expect. Coming right back down here at some point in the future. Now, later, next year, right away, 5 years, 10 years, I don't know. But it's probably going to come back to retest that uptrend right there. So be careful. And if that doesn't hold, it can go back down deeper. That's just the way price works. And Dell hit the target, come back. Roadmap line would be where I expect it to come back to right there. That's what I expect. We did the pullback, we did the move up. There was your entry, there was the target, and now it's not high probability to retrace. It's just what I expect. More often than not, it does, but it's not necessarily tradable because the timeline on a correction is very highly variable. Can take way longer than you can remain solid. Move up usually takes 45 days on average, on the 45 candles on average. That already kind of played out there. There was the high, there was the low, played out. Watch for the retrace. It attempted to go for the 5480, but we're kind of not making it, so it may come all the way back down. 35 right there. Snow holding on to, barely holding on. Look at that. Tried to dip below, came back, closed above. That's what, the third attempt at the, this was a downtrend of highs right here. We bounced off, pulled back, pushed through, and then ran out of steam and came back down, tested, tried to lift off, tested, tried to lift off, tested. This third test here. That's just not the bullish thing that happens. If it's going to be bullish, we don't do multiple tests. The example right back over here. This is the cleanest, best example I have right here. Popped up, retraced, popped through, retraced, tested, popped away. There wasn't like 3 hits or 4 hits. Poked in and ran away. That's what we need to see Snow do if it's going to be bullish, not just screw around right here. So Snow needs to get going. If we get below that that downtrend of highs that's been intact since way back here, if we start messing around below that, we're probably coming back to the lows. Back down to 100. Simple as that. PANW. We already hit the upside targets, so we needed a retrace. PANW has a potential to come on down. Still working on the correction. The correction could come on up to the roadmap line. As long as we remain below rough that low right there around 180. Still can come down here. EXYZ is probably coming back down to the bottom. At their current price, at the pricing right around here, their SpaceX is about 100 times over leveraged of its real value. The real value of it is like down here. So probably still 2x-ish, 3x-ish, 4x-ish. BAC. Yeah, it looks like money's flowing in ahead of earnings. Earnings coming up week after next on the 15th. So watch out. This usually plays out probably sometime by the 10th or 13th. Money will start exiting by the 14th, and then earnings gamble, roll the dice, see which way it goes. So we got 9 minutes before we roll over to the members only stream. I'll go through every ticker that's on here. It's part of the members only stream. This dipped a little further than I wanted to see. Bummer. Bummer sandwiches. It's pulling that down. Don't want to see it go lower low, but if it does, it just resets the whole potential here. That's the low. As long as we're higher than that, potential is up here, but we did drag it down a little bit. And 44 may be the top of this ABC type correction. And we may get more downside. That's not looking super bullish there on CMG, since we're not holding the 618 line. And HBM. Potential bounce. I think I've talked about it. Well, obviously I've talked about it before. I got the fib line on there. Look at the close about 223.71 for a 30.70 target. USO. Dang. Up there at the highs. So, big picture. And this did a funky split thing, but first move up, retrace, next move up, could put it at 280. That kind of jives with that crazy prediction I made of, 250, 280 on oil. DPZ, still bearish. And the bigger downside is still down here at 250. This has been bearish since 2022. First move down, retrace, second move down, lower low. Got to make a low lower than 280 to finish this up. Right down in there. That's DPZ for you. It's been bearish for a long time. HIMS, nice attempt at the roadmap line on the weekly charts. First move up, retrace. Holding in here is potentially bullish. And gives an upside target around 58 right now. If it can keep being bullish. Probably see it hit there, retrace, and then go on another move. Could get up to 92, but let's not get too crazy here. That would be good. And then it would support the bigger potential bounce off the lows. That move up, this 50% retrace, and potential for 352. But let's not get too crazy yet. We got to do this part, and we may do this before we can do this, before we do that. So I'm still on it, still riding. Good. Extended to the 618 and held so far at 67. It's funny. So I've been selling 67 puts, 69 puts, 74 puts, and just keep rolling them forward. Looking for this to bounce. The bounce potentially going to take us up to, let's be realistic first off. First off, 174, possibly 194. That would be the conservative target, and that doesn't even activate until we get a move above 110. Now, if you're being aggressive and you think that this pullback looks similar in size to the like 4 pullbacks we did already, 1, 2, 3, this is the 4th one. The expansion potentially the same size as 1, 2, 3, 4th one, then that would optimistically put us up near 300. But we got to get the upside going. So resistance at the daily roadmap line, resistance at the 618, resistance at this 170 target. So we could bounce in here before we get up there. And it could take a while. It could take next year. And these took a little while. At climb speed, about the same climb speed here. All right. Lulu. We hit the target yet? Ha. Almost. There's the ideal target down here at 120. We're looking for this to get down to 120. Come on. Got my alerts in there waiting. So this was our, initial target. We bounced off the roadmap line. I don't think we're done. I don't think we're going to be done until we get down around 120. It's possible to bounce early. It's possible to truncate, but 120. That's where I'm gunning for. 3 minutes left. MP materials. Probably coming down. First move down. Retrace. Second move down. Target's right down here. Around 33, 34. Lynn. Hit the target. Beautiful. Beautiful. Boom. Watch out for the retrace back to the roadmap line. Could it extend? Sure. 519 and 562. Merc. I've been pretty bullish on this one. Golly, man. If I had just been able to hold on. Look at her go. And probably come up here 140, 150. Activated that bigger bounce. When I say that bigger bounce, I mean like this. Look at that beautiful bounce off the roadmap line. Activated it right there. There's the target. I was in it back here. Well, now I'm not. The LTR. So first attempt at the roadmap line. Retraced. There's the low. There's the high. Retrace to the 618. Potential. Just to lift on out. Get above this 618. Set up that target. That high, that low, yeah. So the target on the next move would be here. We may, if this turns super bullish, pops through, you may see it stall out here, retrace back down, maybe retest the roadmap line over here before it can pop on out to targets and go on, get underway to the bigger target up in here. And lemonade. First move down, retrace, touch the 50%. Couldn't even get to, man, couldn't even get to the 618. This is looking like we're going to take a bigger spill. Possibly down to 33. Now, here's the tell. We drop below kind of 54, 50, 52, 54 area. Probably coming down here. If we can hold on to that, break back up through, then we have potential to come on up to 110. And we're switching over to the other stream. So I will be on the other stream, finish the list. We'll see you in the morning.